down to business.
When he drinks, he thinks.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the #1 liquid-fueled, liquid lubricated show on the interwebs. This is the Whiskey Musings Broadcast, and I am your ever so humble and charming host, Rick. I have got a little bit of a special thing for you. I know Saturday we kind of got into a little bit of difficulties. There was some, miscommunication, technical challenges, misunderstandings. Sometimes in live streaming and live video, mess ups happen. Okay, they just do. And so because of that, I have asked Outlaw Dogs to come back. And tonight we're going to go through some of the photos and some of her experiences during the Trump rally that was going on Saturday. So that's the main course, the main dish for tonight. But I do have a couple of things I want to talk about first before I bring her in. And then also I do have a bunch of articles in the show notes. So if we don't get to those articles, then definitely check out in the show notes some of the key things that you might want to keep an eye on that have popped in just the last couple of days. Okay. I do want to thank all of my Whiskey Warrior P1s for coming out. And I also have from one of my Whiskey Warrior P1s a interesting pet of the week this week. No, it's not a spider. Okay. I've already been told that if I brought a spider in, there would be screaming, carnage, mayhem, etc. So no, it is not a spider. All right. I can guarantee you that. However, it is interesting only in the fact that I'm not exactly sure that I would necessarily call these particular creatures pets, but okay, whatever. I am open to just about anything. And as you know, when I drink, I think, and tonight, I think you're going to have a great time. We're going to get this stuff started here. First things first, I do need to bring attention to, as soon as I can find my freaking cursor, it's off somewhere. There it is. Now I've got it. Okay. So first I want to bring attention to my partner, True Grit Roots Network. True Grit Roots Network, TGRN, champions independent artists while paying respect to the pioneers who shaped modern roots music, featuring outlaw country, blues, and rock with a unique twist of urban that is carefully selected and purposely put together. We are the radio highway that connects the back roads, highways, and city streets to your favorite dance hall, roadhouse, and juke joint. TGRN provides original, exclusive programming and interviews that are produced and hosted by our own team of DJs, hosts, and personalities. Some of those guys are Jonathan Oogie Richards from blues radio fame. We have Vinnie Marini, who is also a blues guy. We have a couple of other shows that are going to be coming on, by the way. But we also have Jeff and the Jump Tones leader, and I'm spacing his last name, damn it. But he also does a blues program. You should really check us out. Okay. So find us on the web at tgrn.net or to download our app in the App Store or from Google Play. Alternatively, you can find us in the Live 365 catalog of internet digital radio stations and through the Live 365 app as well. You can also play our station on your Amazon Alexa by saying, play True Grit Roots Network from Live 365. Be sure to use the word from in the command. If you do the on, it screws it up. So say, play True Grit Roots Network from Live 365. Breaking boundaries for authentic roots radio, True Grit Roots Network, tgrn.net, Austin, Texas. And in case you didn't miss it at the beginning, I am a partner and part owner in that endeavor. We are in our final little push. We're planning on going to the full live in October. Right now, we're in our soft launch. We're going to do a hard launch in October. It's coming up, and I know I'm getting nervous. My partner is getting nervous because, of course, he's the program director and the guy that's actually making all of this happen. I have just a very small part in comparison to him. Anyway. All right, so there's that. Now, a couple of other good news things that popped this week. First of all, and let me bring this up. I got to find which one it is. I think it's this one. First of all, Rumble, the pro free speech YouTube competitor, sets new active user growth record in August. That is due to all of you guys. All of you who come to Rumble, and I know some might be watching me on YouTube. I'm telling you, YouTube has kicked me off, has kicked Mark K off, has kicked Dan Bongino off. If you want good conservative content on a regular basis, you have got to come over to Rumble, okay? Sign up for a free account, subscribe to the channels that you like. Right now, I am sitting at 246 subscribers on Rumble. So if this is your first time here, don't forget to go ahead and sign up for an account and subscribe to it so you can be notified of when I go live, okay? But Rumble is taking off. It is absolutely taking off. It was even talked about on the Joe Rogan Experience here recently. They were talking about getting some really high-end people to transfer over to Rumble. So I'm sort of wondering if Joe is doing that as a strategic play to kind of say that, hey, if YouTube gets really stupid and decides to kick me off, that I'll go over to Rumble. But it's great to have alternatives, and that's what we're all talking about. And of course, tonight I titled the live stream, Ding Dong, the Witch Won't Run Again. And that is due to the fact that breaking news, Hillary Clinton says she will not run for president in 2024. I call bullshit on that because chances are she may. Okay. I have never known her to actually not lie. All right. So, I mean, she's just like Joe Biden and the only difference between the two of them, to be honest, is at least Hillary doesn't make it completely obvious that she's lying. Joe Biden, on the other hand, will repeat stories that he's been publicly denounced on over and over and over again. But she at least tries to cover it up. So I don't know how, she was doing this on an interview. I would hazard a guess, because it is only 2022 and we're not talking about midterms yet. Chances are she's just saying that no, she's not going to, but don't put her out completely, because she is still getting on and doing interviews and things of that nature. And keeping herself in the public, keeping her toe in the public pond, let's say, to try and emphasize that me thinks she doth protest too much, if you ask me. But I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. All right. Now, for tonight's drink, I am in my America shot glass. For tonight's occasion, of course, I am drinking my, and I got to admit, this is actually, B. Patrick and her husband, Fat Paws, dropped me on this, and I've got to tell you right now, this is actually getting on my favorites list. This is the Four Roses Single Barrel Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And yes, tonight, I've been picked on by my mixes and stuff. So tonight, obviously, it's in the shot glass. There is no water. It is direct, straight, 100% in the glass, okay? God, it's got a great taste. It's got a nice spice to it. That's the thing. It's got a really nice spice. And speaking of spice, we have a spicy Whiskey Warrior P1 coming on the program tonight to tell us about her experiences at another spicy event known as the Trump rallies. Let's give a big Whiskey Warrior welcome to our Whiskey Warrior P1, the Outlaw Dogs. Hello there, Outlaw. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. So we had this wonderful thing set up for Saturday, and something happened. You and I both know kind of what's happened and did happen. We don't need to go in the details, but let's just basically say that there was a complete mix-up of communication in terms of how this thing works. But you went there and you got some great photos, which I'll bring in just a minute. But you have some great photos and some great experiences to tell us about. So I want to ask you, first question here, obviously, is this is not your first Trump rally, correct?
No, this is my third.
Okay, your third. All right. So let me ask you this. If you compare all three of them, which one had, let's say, the most energy?
Definitely this one by far. I don't know if you know about how this works, but when you get there, they put you in what's called Disneyland. That's the line.
Okay.
And you're sitting there and you're there for 5 hours or so. And a lot of the conversation was about the Biden speech. And people were mad. They felt like, they were being called domestic terrorists. And they didn't think that's fair. That's not right. So by the times we got into this rally, and it is indoors, so it I'm sure echo, it's like, but I mean, there was not a seat open. There was not a place to stand on the floor. It was just absolutely packed. And it was louder, crazier, just absolutely electric is the only way I can really describe it. It was crazy nuts because we wanted to hear from our president that, they don't get to call us these names. Right.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but he apparently announced here today sometime that he believes that rally set an attendance record for that location.
I would not doubt it in the least.
Okay.
Couldn't move.
So were they able to get everybody in, or had you heard that there were still people lined up outside?
No, actually, there was about 10 lines of that Disneyland.
Right.
And it was, it was rather long. It was probably half a football field. You have to go up, back, up, back.
Right.
So there was like 10 of those.
Okay.
And then when you got to the end of that line, then it started going out into the parking lot. And then, in between the parking spaces, I mean, if you back out two SUVs at the same time, there's a lot of space there.
Right.
That was deep. It was all the way from one car to the other car and all the way to the back of the parking lot. And not just one lane, in 3 lanes.
3 lanes.
There was,
okay.
Yeah. There were, the stadium, from what I understood, my dog is barking.
Yep.
The stadium, the outlaw dogs.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the seating in it was 8,000. And then, of course, we have the floor seating, the standing room only.
Right.
So the people that were outside that could not get in, there was a big screen out there, and they stood there, and they still watched.
Okay,
and that was 3 lanes of all the way back.
Right.
Like you couldn't see the end of the line.
Okay, so just to give somebody, I'm going to pull you off the screen, so you don't freak your. We can still hear you. Okay. But I want to get this up. Let me see. So this is a shot that you took inside the stadium, just to give people an idea. Now you were, and let me see if I can do this right. Yep. Nope. Don't want to do that just yet. So it's this way. You were about 12 rows back.
Yeah. Which in an arena, that sounds like, oh my God, you're so far back. But if you've been to like a concert and you're in the 12th row, I mean, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
So I've been I've been closer. I've been actually 4 rows, like front and center. Like Trump was looking at me at the first rally I went to. He was like literally looking at me, talking to me when he was giving his speech. And then in the second one I went to, we were kind of off to the side, off to the right. But it was where the riser came out. So when he was walking out of the little blue tent that he comes out of, and he walks down the riser, at that second rally, he walked like straight into me. So I got great pictures and stuff.
Oh, okay. Now you have a video on that I shared throughout the start before Saturday on social media and everything. You have a video of the last rally, I think, that you went to where you got a signature. Do you want to go ahead and tell us about that?
Yeah. I have my red MAGA hat. I don't know if you can see it.
Uh-oh.
I can grab it.
Yeah, we lost you for a second. That's fine.
All right. Hold on.
Yep.
Yeah, technical difficulties. The earphones came flying out. Okay. So, this is the hat that I wear to the Trump rallies. Now, I had gone to this rally, was here in my hometown of Milford, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband works in Port Jervis, New York, which is right over the river. And I'm like, hon, they're having an Eric Trump rally here. This is before the 2020 election.
Okay.
And Eric Trump is going to be there. So, like, you either meet me there or I'm going and I'll see you at home. Well, he came down and, we met and we grabbed some dinner and we got our spots and we went and watched Eric. And he was just absolutely, fantastic.
Right.
And he stood there and the music was loud. So it's hard to, at the end where you see where I'm going and I'm trying to get up through the crowd to get, an autograph or shake his hand. I did get 2 fist bumps.
Okay.
And he signed my hat. Eric Trump right there.
Yeah.
So
okay.
This is like gold.
Yeah. I could imagine that. So there was also somebody else that was there. I think help me out here because you've been to 3, so I don't remember if it was the one that you were talking about or another one that you had picked up, but there was also another. I'm going to call him a pseudo celebrity because I'm not exactly sure if a lot of people know who he is. But tell me about this photo.
This is Brick Suit. He's on Twitter. He lives in California in the San Diego area. When I kind of fell into Twitter because that's where President Trump was. So, I mean, I had an account years ago, but I never looked at it. I didn't do anything with it. And I kind of just found him online because Trump was on Twitter, before the election. And, he'd say certain things and you couldn't get it if you didn't go to Twitter. So I found him and, of course, the suit draws your eye and you're like, what's this guy all about? Well, it was Build the Wall. And he's been about Build the Wall. He lives in San Diego. He sees the illegals coming over all the time. He got very involved, obviously, with the Republican Party on that subject. Mm-hmm. And he travels all over the country and campaign, to help, get the word out for President Trump. He did campaign for Carrie Lake in Arizona. And just a super nice, sweet guy. And he also signed my hat.
Nope. Wait,
right
just
there,
a second.
says,
Let me get back to to that. Okay. So he did sign your hat as well.
Yep.
All right.
Brick Suit. Isn't
now,
that awesome?
Yeah. Now the other thing that's interesting about Brick Suit, which I don't know, some people might recognize him from a rally that happened in Pennsylvania, I believe. And he actually got pulled up on stage. Like Trump went and got him and pulled him up on stage. And this is part of where he got some of his fame from because of the building the wall, the brick suit, literally. So that kind of thing. So that's really cool. It's kind of cool that Trump does that he actually interacts with some of the people, unlike, well, the other guy.
We know. Yeah, that was great. And actually, when I got to this rally and I got to meet with Brick, I had talked to him for a few minutes, and I had a bunch of girls with me, and the ladies that I go to the Trump rallies with.
Right.
And the one brought her granddaughter for the first time. It was her first Trump rally. She's 9 years old. She was, absolutely flipping out. And I was talking about you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be doing this for whiskey, and we're going to meet Brick Suit. And they're all, are they going to, is he going to sign my hat? So, of course, the little girl runs up to him as soon as she sees him with the suit on.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, she's like upstaging me. Like, I'm not getting my interview because this little girl's adorable,
They usually are.
Right, yeah. And wants his autograph. And he goes, I've never been asked for my autograph before. And then all of a sudden there's a line. And now he's standing there signing people's hats and shirts. And he was like overwhelmed with it.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine that.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to watch him go through that. Oh, check me out.
Yeah. I've never been asked for my autograph, but just on the subject, kind of taking it a step off. Other than for things like, signing up for the military or signing for a car or signing for a house.
Like that.
Yeah. But the one time I was in the service, real quick story. I was in the service and I was riding back to post and I was in my uniform and my last name, and I don't want to say it out on air just for the moment, but my last name is synonymous with a famous WWE wrestling duo, tag team back in the day.
Okay.
And and so anyway, the cab driver was a big WWE fan. Back then it was the WWF, and big WWF fan. And so he had me sign my name because my first name also ties up with that last name perfpectly with this particular wrestler. And this particular wrestler, I ended up signing, and I didn't get paid, or I didn't have to pay for the cab ride. The cabbie just was like, hey, I'm going to hand this over to my son and tell him I had so-and-so in my cab. And the funny thing about it is there's probably some kid out there somewhere with it under, I keep thinking this in the bath, under like some plexiglass or something, thinking it's worth something. Anyway. All right.
He'll take it into like a pawn shop and they'll be like, nope, not his signature.
Yeah. That was a fake. But no, it is a real signature. It's just not the real signature.
Not that guy.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so Brick Suit wasn't the only person that was there. There were a couple other famous people. So let me go ahead and bring that. Now, this guy, this next photo that I have, I actually was watching the event on this network where this guy came from. And it's this guy here in the check. Tell us about this.
That's Brian from RSBN. I was trying to get his attention, but he was doing an interview with the lady with the black hat on. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, I'm kind of like back a person or two. So sometimes, when they're interviewing other people, it's hard to get their attention. But I mean, right. That's how close I came to Brian from RSBN. I was right up in front, mm-hmm. And I couldn't really hear what he was saying. While you're there, the music is blaring. They play a playlist, and the music is actually blaring, and then the chants are going around, FJB, right. FJB, whatever. So sometimes it's hard to hear, somebody that's not even that far away from you. But that's how close I got to him, so that was pretty cool.
Okay, and there's two other fairly famous people that you got up close and personal with. I won't say how personal, but you got up close and personal with them. And so tell me a little bit about these two folks.
Now, that's Wendy Bell and Brock from Wendy Bell Radio, who are also on Rumble in the morning on the East Coast. They play from 9 to 12. So I go from Wendy Bell Radio to Mark K. And then I watch Jules and Cat Turd and Litter Box from 3 to 4. And then, wait for Wednesday when I get to see you on Wednesday and Saturdays.
Yeah, right.
So, Wendy, there's, I don't know if you can see, well, probably not in this picture, but there's like, they're the VIPs. So they have them in a holding place. She and Brock actually got to go in and meet President Trump and take pictures with them. She posted photos of that today. Gorgeous photos. And when they come out, they have VIP seats. Right. So they actually walk them around the arena. So they come out and they're like rock stars, and they walk all the way around the arena to their seats on the other side. Right. So she was kind of like facing where the seats were, and I was in the middle. I was on the floor. Mm-hmm. So she walked out, and she was facing the other way, and as you can see there, she's got curly dark hair. Mm-hmm. So I recognized her right away. I knew exactly who it was, and I stood up, and I said, Wendy Bell, like really loud. I'm a big mouth. I can scream. Right. I coach a swim team for kids, so yeah, yelling is like, I'm really good at it. So, and she turned around, and I'm waving, and I'm the only one standing. Mm-hmm. Like everybody's seated, and it wasn't like during the YMCA when they're all going crazy. Oh yeah. So it was like the only one standing, and she turned around and she waved back to me. Uh-huh. And Brock waved. He was like, hi. And then I sent them an email on Monday, because they actually did a show on Monday, and I was like, hey, thanks for acknowledging me and waving back to me at the Trump rally. That was really, really nice. I wish I could have like ran over there and got her to sign my hat or something, but I would have tripped over 10 people. It wouldn't have been pretty. Right.
Okay. All right. And so let me ask you this. They had some speeches. I mean, obviously Trump was the headliner, but they also had some other speeches. Who else did you see there?
The 2 women, and I should have done a better job of going back and getting their names. Okay. There were 2 women that were our J6 relatives. Okay. And one still has her, I want to say brother is still in DC Gulag. Right. Uh-huh. And the other woman, it was her nephew, and he committed suicide because of all of this. Ouch. And he was only in the building for 14 minutes. He took pictures and video. He didn't break anything and didn't do anything. He walked through, when you see the red velvet and everybody's walking, in that line and not destroying anything. He was one of those people, and they arrested him and did the whole thing. He was on house arrest. He, very sad story, going from a very successful, outgoing man to somebody who was homebound and didn't want to leave his house. Mm-hmm. And his best friend found him hanging in his garage. Ugh. Because he didn't want to be a traitor to his nation, and he wasn't. Well, I find it just on that subject, and we'll come back to the Trump rally here in a second, but on that subject, I find it really odd to know that we have all the video footage of people like walking in between the ropes. There were, no weapons that were found, no firearms that were found in all the people when they were doing the arrests or anything else. And it's kind of amazing to me that you can have an insurrection without a couple of key factors. Obviously one being the firearms, because an insurrection realistically is a actual overthrow of the government. You can't do that in a secured location without firearms. And then the other piece out of that, of course, is the fact that they were staying within the ropes. They were being, for the most part, there were a few people, obviously, that went into the offices and things like that. But for the most part, most of the people were just there and kind of got caught up in the whole thing and just sort of walked in and, were hanging out. And you compare that to photos of when, let's say, the confirmation hearings were going on with Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, and
and all of the people who packed into that place and everything else. You compare those photos together and it's just, it's a stark contrast. And yet one is an insurrection and the other one is just protesting. And it's,
just a protest. Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. All right.
Just one note on January 6th.
Yep.
And this is a shout out to my stepdad, Ron, who was in the Army and was ranked high up there. He did reserves and all of that. He passed away at like 4:00 in the morning on January 6th. And I got the phone call about 5:00 in the morning. I was leaving. I was going to Washington, D.C. that day.
Ooh.
I was meeting with my friend, and I had to call her because she was picking me up. She was driving across Pennsylvania to pick me up. And I had to call her and be like, "Hon, I can't. My stepdad passed away this morning." So I feel like the last thing he did is save my rear end once again, because they're just picking people out of the crowd and throwing them in jail.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of surprised. I believe, I don't remember if it was on January 6th or not, but I believe a old coworker of mine took his son over that way one time in the winter. And I can't remember exactly what date, but I think it might've been January 6th. And, he's very, very, conservative and, really doesn't care for what's happening with this country, which I think a lot of people are that way. And just, I mean, I apologize. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
And, obviously we would thank him for his service. But yeah, it's kind of weird how things like that work out for sure. Okay. So
it was a sign for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because I mean, not for nothing. I'm if Nancy Pelosi's office was open, I probably would have had to stop in and see what was in there.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't say if I was there that I wouldn't, the temptation would definitely be something for it, but,
exactly.
It's one of those things that I think it was, again, like I've said on this program many, many times, when you resort to violence for political gains, you've already lost.
Right.
So realistically, the whole violence thing, you got to kind of take that out of the whole picture. There's a reason why we have peaceable assembly and, an ability to redress our grievances to the government. There's a reason for those rights. And unfortunately, some people kind of take it a little too far. And it's on both sides of the aisle at times, but anyway, okay. So let me ask you this. So there was the two ladies. Who else spoke besides Trump?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay. And how was her speech?
Oh my, she was a rock star. She got super loud applause. I mean, people were, MTG, how she is. She's, she's outspoken. She's the kind of person we need that isn't afraid of Nancy Pelosi or isn't afraid of AOC and isn't afraid to say what's on her mind.
Right.
And, she gave the two ladies, because they were walking off and she was coming on, and she hugged them, because she's been at the jail and she saw them. And she's like, can you believe this? We have actual political prisoners in the United States of America. This is not good. There's nothing good about this.
Right.
And then, of course, she went on to give the rest of her speech with, the talking points that the Republicans talk about. But it was nice to her to recognize them, recognize what's going on, and be a voice for those of us that.
I know that I know she's pushed to get into the jail to visit with these people. I also know that I think she's made it in at least once.
Yeah, she did get in at least once. Yeah,
but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, the whole thing about that has to deal with the, obviously the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, and that kind of stuff, the right to a speedy trial. I mean, we had a question I had a question that I answered on this program just a couple episodes back, not too long ago, about it. So anyway, it's an entire sad situation, to be honest, in terms of the statement of our nation. But I don't want to get too down. I want to be up. I want to get up. So I have a photo of a gentleman here. But first, before I bring this gentleman on who gave a speech, or at least a little bit of a speech, but before I move on to him, were there any other, because I have a feeling you know who I'm talking about, because you took the photo, but was there anybody else that you may not have gotten photos of?
Trying to think. Oh, is it the high profile guy you're going to bring up right now?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, well then I won't mention it. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is this.
Anybody else? I'll
okay,
let you know.
All right. So this is the other gentleman who gave a speech.
Oh, okay, different high profile guy, but yeah,
he's the other high profile guy. Now this guy, I'm going to be honest with you. When Trump backed him, I was not a fan. I'm still not exactly sure about how he's going to do it, but considering the fact that he won the primary and now we have a choice between him and Fetterman, if you're in Pennsylvania, I'm going to be completely honest with you, whether you like this guy or not, he is so much better than Fetterman. Do not vote Fetterman. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm one of those guys. I was told a long time ago by a conservative radio host here in the Seattle area. Unfortunately, he's gone. He's since moved on. But he was in or talking right around election time, and his comment and his word is, no matter what, if you're unsure, vote Republican. Don't vote Democrat, even if you're unsure. So it's one of those things. I'm just telling you, even though you may not like the guy, I mean, even if he's 50% right in our favor, in our corner, that's better than having somebody who's 100% wrong all the time. So, sometimes you're just going to end up getting a situation where you have to just vote for whatever is the lesser evil. And, this is definitely one of those, but this doesn't sound like this was the guy that you were thinking about. So
no, but I do have a story about him. Real quick.
Yep. Go ahead.
Actually, the second rally I went to was out in Hagerstown, Pennsylvania, which is close to Pittsburgh. It's the one where it rained. It was literally a mud ball. Like I've never, I teach swimming for a living and I've never been so wet in my life. It just rained for 8 hours. We had mud in our shoes. It was freezing cold. It was just awful. Mm-hmm. Not, but Trump came and he spoke anyway, and that was great. Now, and that was the first rally to kind of introduce Oz. He had announced him at a different rally, but this was the first time where Oz was there in person. Mm-hmm. And I went to go boo Oz. I actually did, because we have our, you go back and look at his show and the things that he said, and
right.
Really, is he a Republican? Does he even live in Pennsylvania? We really don't know the answer to that question either.
Well,
so
actually, I've heard that he bought a house.
Secret Service ran up to me and said, "You can't do that because this is, this is President Trump's party." And I said to the guy, I said, "Look, I can respect that. Yes, this is Trump's. So I will keep my mouth shut from here on out."
See, now, to be honest with you, I kind of find that interesting. I mean, as long as all you're doing is voicing your opinion, especially not while he is speaking, but if you just boo him when he comes on stage or something like that.
Yeah, that's what, it was when he was coming out.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could understand that, but I don't.
And I wasn't the only one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I don't understand why the Secret Service would necessarily disagree with that. I mean, if you're trying to interrupt the man's speech, then I could see where it would be a bit of a problem. But anyway, okay. Well, that's cool. So what other person were you thinking of? Because it sounded like there was another person.
There is. And this one was right-hand man, President Trump.
Oh, yes.
Standing there. I'm standing and I'm actually talking or trying to get Doug Mastriano and his wife Rebby are standing literally in front of me, but they're talking to somebody and I'm just trying to get them to turn around so I can take a picture.
Right.
And time's up. And they're like, nope, you got to go take your seats. So I didn't get the picture, but I literally, there, I was like, my breath was hitting Rebby's back. That's how close she was to me. And Doug was standing right there.
Okay.
So I was trying to get that picture, and I turn around, and Dan Scavino is standing behind me.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't set up, and I wasn't ready to get his picture.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did do is I said, "Hi, Dan, can I shake your hand?" And I stuck my hand out, and he shook my hand, and I said, "Thank you for all you guys have done for us."
Right.
And then he turned around and walked back to where the president comes out to the podium. Really super cool. I wish I could have got a picture of it. It's like one of those things. And then I'm like all thumbs. I don't know,
All thumbs. Okay.
Yeah, I can't get the cell phone to work. It'll go to my email when I'm trying to take a picture. I don't.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So,
that's cool. Well, that's great.
I did get to, people can believe me or not believe me, but that is the God's honest truth. I turned around, Dan Scavino standing right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's sometimes I'll admit I've never personally met someone that I would say is, oh my gosh, a big celebrity or whatever. I did run across what I believe was and interacted with what I believe was when the Sonics NBA basketball team was actually in Seattle and not in Oklahoma. At least I think that's where they went. Anyway, not much of a basketball fan, but I did interact with somebody in the airport that was 6 foot, God whatever, next to a giant kind of idea, and I'm only like 5'9", so. I've never interacted with somebody, but he was huge and nice guy, just talking to him and everything. And my stepdad has run across people like Clint Eastwood, drank with him in a bar for a couple hours, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I've never run into anybody. And to be honest,
met Olympians. I've met swimming Olympians.
You've met Olympians. Who?
Yeah. Michael Phelps' coach.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dana, I can never remember her last name. She was a butterflyer. This is going back a little, pre.
Right.
Pre Michael days.
Right.
I've met quite a few.
Oh, okay.
Right. And it's cool because you go to it's kind of like a rally for swimming. And you go and you get to meet the Olympian. They'll let you wear their medal. And I have a golden whistle, which I actually wear. Mm. So when I take my picture wearing their medal, I have them wear my golden whistle.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like
cool.
A trade, like a cute little trade thing. So yeah, I've met like 6 or 8 or so. But
so
I did meet Michael Phelps' coach.
Are those medals heavy? I mean, I would imagine they would be.
Oh my God, are they heavy? They're like that big.
Yeah,
like, as big as my face. I wish I had one.
Yeah, no kidding. But you know what? I heard, and I don't know this for certain, but I think I read it somewhere, that they actually get taxed on the worth of that medal when they come back into the United States after going to the Olympics.
That's true.
So, if you figure that thing's I don't know, maybe a pound, 2 pounds, something like that.
Probably maybe like a half a pound.
Oh, okay. Half a pound. So not quite that much. Okay.
Yeah, a pound, they would be like this on the podium.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Get taxed on the medal.
Yeah, on the worth of the medal. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So last photo here, of course, just to inspire everyone. Let's go. Let's save America. Let's save and make America great again. Okay. We just need to do that. We really just need to do that, folks. And the only way to do that, honestly, is to vote red, vote Republican in November. And, I'm sorry to say, but as much as what everybody starts talking about, two-party system sucks and so on and so forth. But that's what unfortunately, that's what our system is set up for. So we kind of have to pick between the two, to be honest. So, anyway, All right. Well, thank you very much for that, for all of the photos and everything. I do appreciate that. There is one more video, though, that I do want to bring up. And this one, unfortunately, because of the method by which I grabbed it, it's a little grainy, but let me go ahead and bring this up here. Oh, shoot. Hang on.
Now, you can actually see me in that video.
We can, huh? Let me get this.
Yeah, at 9 seconds.
There we go. I didn't have the sound on, so. There's the wave.
Vino's video. We're doing the wave. They did it, I think, 4 times around, maybe 5. In the beginning of the video, if you go to 9 seconds in, there's a lady in a cowboy hat. Not the first one that you see. It's the second cowboy hat. I am the red hat sitting next to her. Her daughter was standing in front of me, and that's why I wasn't standing up doing the wave. Otherwise, I would have been standing up doing the wave, but she was standing in front of me.
So hold on. I'm going to try and grab that. Just hang on. This may take me a second to grab, but
I'll tell you
wait.
right where.
Okay, so there's one. That's 1 second in.
Yeah, see, that's the first cowboy.
6, 7, 8. There's 9
right
seconds.
There. You passed it.
I did?
See the girl on the shoulder with the pink? Right. See the guy with the blue? That guy?
This guy.
He's standing.
Right. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So not the guy in the middle. I'm sorry. I know you can't see, but there's a guy with a red hat and the blue. He's right in the center, right?
Yeah. Go. I think you need to go. Are you at 9 seconds? All right.
There's 9 seconds.
See the screen right now? It looks. The guy's got a blue hat on.
Yeah, right in the center. Mm-hmm.
That's exactly where I am. I am totally right straight in front of him.
Oh, okay.
So if you go back, if you back it up just like a half a second.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that on this, but I'll give it a try.
You'll see the little girl with the green hat.
It's just those 2 frames. It goes frame.
Yeah, you're not.
So
it took me a long time to find myself. And if that guy would have sat down, you would have seen me.
Okay.
All
right, but this video kind of gives you the energy of the system. I wonder if somebody was saying, hang on. Am I even close right there?
Yeah, you passed it.
Passed it? How did I pass it?
Yep.
Because this is the cowboy. This is the one cowboy hat right here next to the guy in the blue and the red.
No.
No, too far?
Yeah.
That's 6 seconds. So, all right. So let's try this again.
It's like right. Cowboy hat number 1. Right,
okay. So cowboy hat number 1 is in the black. Is where? Am I past him already?
So now if you go just one more little click. One more. Go. See if I can get it.
A little farther than this? Because this is at 5 seconds.
A little tiny bit. Yeah. It's right out. All right. Stop.
Yeah, shoot.
You went too far.
I did. All right. Well,
the guy that has that blue hat, see that red hat that's under his ear? That's me.
Oh, okay. All right. That's you. That's you right here. Yeah. Right here in the corner. Okay. Yeah. I see you. Yeah.
Right under blue hat's ear. Yeah, that's me.
Right. I'm pointing right at your head.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I can't go too far out because then my hand disappears because of the green screen effect and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I lost my arm. But right here, down in the bottom, that's her. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if you could see it from there, but the podium is right in the middle of the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
See how blurry it is? It's
really
blurry.
Well, I mean, it's a motion video, so I could just imagine that. But all right. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show and sharing your experiences. Now, I understand that there's another one happening on the 17th of September. So, okay. So that one, do you happen to know what time that is?
It'll probably be in the same time frame. He usually has them.
Okay.
On the East Coast at the same, so he gets on TV at, prime time.
Yeah, he's got to get the prime time show. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we will try a live at the event thing again on the 17th. We'll give that a shot and see if that works out. Hopefully it will.
Okay.
So yeah, so you and I will just work out the details.
Set up like meet times. We'll set up like I'll check in with you at 12, or I'll check in with you at 1. Right?
Okay.
I think that'll work better.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much for your willingness to go out, do this, and of course come onto the program, and get quizzed by yours truly, and that kind of stuff. And I, as always, I appreciate all my Whiskey Warrior P1s. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right.
And it's super fun. We'll see how the next one goes. Just a quick question. I couldn't see any of the comments. Is everybody like, hi?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody's saying hi, thank you. Hi. I mean, here's one. Like, this is obviously from Buddy, another one of my P1s.
For Buddy.
We've got this one. Yep, Buddy with that. Got that one there. We've got this one, April, was saying that's her in the corner.
April.
Yeah. So, and then Daybreak just popped this one up. Thank you, Outlaw. And then Bonnie's Love You, Outlaw. So, yeah, they've been going on. I've actually been watching the chat a little bit, and I noticed that I've been apparently picked on again for my love of Irish whiskey. I'm being told that apparently, let's see, where is it at? I know it's in here somewhere.
That cracks me up. That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm being picked on because I'm not, drinking like true American bourbon. Well, I am tonight. I mean, but and again, it is getting up there. It's one of my go-tos now.
I gotta tell you.
So, anyway,
my whiskey days are over.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't go there.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I will have a little bit of tequila rose, but that's only because it tastes like strawberry quick.
Mm-hmm. Ugh.
And you don't know.
God, really? Did you have to go there?
You stand up.
Anyway.
Until you stand up, you don't know.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, I have someone who is asking this right here. How do they follow you?
Okay, well, I'm on Twitter at the Outlaw Dogs. I have a different name on Facebook, but my Outlaw Dog, there is an Outlaw Dogs page. It's Bonnie and Clyde and Billy, their kid, the Outlaw Dogs. My other one, it's like, I used to talk to my mom and whatnot. You don't need to go on that one.
Right.
I am on Truth Social, the Outlaw Dogs. I'm on Gab, GETTR. A lot of those ones I don't really go on too much. I'm basically on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Rumble all day, with Mark K and Wendy Bell Radio, and then with Whiskey Musings and
yep,
like that. So you can follow me pretty much on Twitter and Truth Social. I'm going to start posting there a little bit more because,
Well, and
we got a country to save.
Yeah, no kidding. And just so everybody knows, if you happen to follow all of my social media, which you'll be seeing some of it pop up over here once we get off, this page and stuff. If you follow me, I'm actually following her. So you can look through my social media and be able to connect with the Outlaw Dogs there as well. So anyway, like I said, thank you very much. And if you can enjoy, what, you're trying to get one of the dogs up?
Yeah,
all right, I'll let you do
on
that.
The floor. He ain't getting up.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for coming on the program. I'm looking forward to connecting back up with you on the 17th for the live remote broadcast, and we'll see what comes up. So what I'm going to do now, obviously, is you're going to move back off into the green room. You can stay on and watch the program. Other than that, I am going to continue on because I have, of course, the pet of the week. But you have a great evening, and thank you again for being on the program.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we go to, and I got to get, I don't have this memorized yet, so hang on, I do have it. Here we go.
Please check your mailbox. A new message has arrived.
All right, and for tonight's pet of the week, I need to, let me get set up, hold on. Oops. That Trump wave thing just kind of... Anyway, I have a video this time for the pet of the week, and I also have a little bit of a script here. So this is coming in from Dawn, and Dawn has sent us this wonderful video of, well, I wouldn't necessarily call them pets, but I guess some people do. And apparently, before I show you this, I've got to mention the names. So the new friends are basically Heather and Jasmine Cathy. Now, supposedly you're able to figure out which one is which. I can tell you I've ran through the video a couple of times and I'm stumped. So hopefully Dawn will actually pop into the Rumble chat and let us know which one is which. But before she does that, I'm going to go ahead and play the video. And it is going to be on loop. There were 2 separate video clips that were sent. I put them together at her request, and I'm going to try, I think it's on loop, so it should be looping. But go ahead and take a look at this. And you tell me which one, the one on the left or the one on the right, is either Heather or Jasmine Cathy. Because I'm having a difficult time figuring it out. I'll stop it here in just a second. All right. So which one, folks? Let me know in the chat which one is Heather and which one is Jasmine Cathy. Don't know for sure, but apparently I've also been told that Dawn has just finished helping the significant other half, better half, or whatever you want to call them. So they're building a small chicken house off of the trailer. And apparently the flipping thing was heavy, flipping in capitals. And they'll be enlarging it before spring to accommodate chicks. So it looks like we have, Bonnie is saying the one on the right has to be. So in this case, because you're looking at me, okay, go off of this is my right side. This is my left side. So this is my right, which is the farthest one from me. Whoops, farthest one from me. And then the closest one that's like right here, right above my head. Wrong way. Okay. So we've got a couple shots here. This is why they were asking. So Bonnie says the left, or our right, my left is Jasmine Cathy. And Buddy is saying the one in the middle is Cathy. Well, of course, the one on the end is Rick. Hello. I mean, seriously. Anyway. So anybody else want to take a crack at it? All right, Dawn, why don't you let us know in the Rumble chat which one is which. Oh, Amy pops in with this one. The one on my left looks a little more prissy. So that one is Jasmine Cathy. All right, Dawn, which one is it? The one closest to me or the one farthest from me in the photo? And I'm down here in the lower corner. Which one is it? All right. Well, that's, oh, skinny one looks like Heather. All right. Well, while that's going on, I do have a couple of things that I want to quick cover for you. I don't know if anybody has noticed here recently. We're just going to finish this up. So hopefully Dawn can pop in and tell us which one is which. Oh, the one on my right side. Well, they're kind of both. So this is my right hand. So they're kind of both out there on my right side, but the close one or the far one? One, by the way, Outlaw Dog says, cute chickens. The most vocal one is Heather. Okay. Left. So left. All right. Okay, so the most vocal one. So the farthest one from me, Dawn, seriously, the farthest one from me or the one that's right close by to where I am? I'm in the lower corner. Lower corner. So which one? Farthest from me or closest to me? Anyway, the one closest to me is Heather. All right. So the one closest to me is Heather. That's the one that's the most vocal. The other one farthest from me is Jasmine Cathy. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. So for the pet of the week, if you want to get your pet onto the broadcast, you can do that by sending an email to my fans email box, which is pretty simple. It's fans, F-A-N-S, spelled phonetically. That's Foxtrot, Alpha, November, Sierra, at Whiskey Musings, with an S, all lowercase, all one word, all put together, .online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at whiskeymusings.online. You can send me photos like what I've got behind me for my background if you want, and I'll go ahead and pop those in. You can also send me fan email. I'd love to hear from you. I love hearing from my Whiskey Warriors. And also send me Pet of the Week. And so Pet of the Week, for those of you that are new, Pet of the Week is on Wednesday. I also have a Questions for Whiskey that happens over on Saturday. And so you can do that as well. You can send me a question for that, which I actually think I need one for this week. Come to think about it. Because I'm not entirely sure I have one right now. So that may be something. Maybe you want to throw a question in, and it can be a question about just about anything. If I agree with the question or whatever, I'll put it up. Okay. So just a couple of really quick things. I don't know if anybody has really been watching, but California apparently is in another situation where they have overused or are in the process of overusing their electricity. And so what these people have done is they have been asking people, California officials have been asking people over and over and over again to conserve energy. In other words, cut off the AC, make sure it's not running, keep it at 78. Don't run it at night, some of those things. But, these same idiots also passed, and I do say idiots because this really doesn't make any sense, but they also passed a law recently here that they want to ban gas-powered and diesel engines, cars, vehicles in California by 2035. They are asking people to not charge their electric vehicles at night because they're worried about the electrical grid and brownouts and blackouts. What the hell? What the hell kind of intelligence does all of that make? It really doesn't. I'm sorry. These people who keep voting for these things, and you know what? I keep saying these people, but even my state is in that same boat because more states have decided to move toward banning gas-powered vehicles. Oregon said it's going to do it. Washington's going to do it, which doesn't surprise me any because Oregon and Washington, they freaking, they just follow. I mean, it's God, our guy Inslee, he just follows whatever the Democrats want him to do anyway. But, all right. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch, but, they are going after our cars. Okay. And the other thing that I think is in there, and all of this, of course, is in the show notes. You should check out a series of articles that I have with regards to the student loan, payoff, because student loans, apparently the student loan projections were off by like 311 billion. There's the Political Insider has got an article about that. And that includes things like the standard, and this is before the bailout that Biden just pushed for. But they originally were estimating that the federal student loans were going to generate $6 in revenue per every 100 that was dispersed. But in actuality, they are costing the government almost $9. So a positive 6 versus a negative 9 for every $100 dispersed. So apparently the GAO looked through the Department of Education's budgets over the years and found that 61% of the bad accounting was due to faulty assumptions, like the incorrect estimates on the economic standing of borrowers, estimating the likelihood of borrower default, and underestimating the percentage of borrowers who would enter income-driven repayment plans. So not only is the government planning on, or the federal government and Biden in particular, planning on forgiving all these loans, they also didn't make any money off of several of these loans. So, once again, this just proves that government has no idea how to handle money. They lose. It's a losing proposition with everything, just like with Social Security, running out of money. The whole idea of like Medicare and Medicaid, those have had all kinds of problems. The VA has all kinds of problems. Government is just not suited to run anything. Okay. Just straight out. It's just not going to happen. And then of course there was another article that I included in the show notes, from the Epoch Times. And it talks about each taxpayer being on the hook for around $2,500 for Biden's student loan forgiveness scheme. And this was put together in a report by the National Taxpayers Union Foundation, or NTUF. And so every single taxpayer is going to be on the hook for around $2,500 in taxes because of this 300 roughly billion, or I think it's 300 million dollar boondoggle for the $10,000 loan cancellations. I've said it again, and I'm going to say it again. You just cannot magically erase debt. Okay. You just can't. It's not possible. Either the creditor or the debtor will have to pay one way or the other. And I guarantee you in this case, with Joe Biden forgiving the debtors, it's now the creditor. The creditor is literally the American people, the American taxpayer. That's who is going to pay for this, this mess up. I also put in the show notes really quick, a article that I was actually turned on by Ben Shapiro yesterday. He had an extensive segment on his podcast with regards to this, where historian Niall Ferguson was interviewed on, let's see, where was he? He was interviewed he was interviewed at CNBC at the Ambrosetti Forum in Italy. And he essentially has told us that right now we're looking at a setup of conditions that were just like 1970. And he even goes so far as to talk about how even now, the conditions are already set, but that we will likely be in a potential worse situation than what we went through in 1970 and eventually into the Carter years. The only thing I can hope for, and that I think all Americans can hope for, is that yes, we might be in the 1970s, but let's hope that we get a Ronald Reagan for a recovery in the 1980s after that happened. Okay. So yeah, things are not looking good. If you have a chance to listen to Ben Shapiro's podcast, he actually goes through a great historical look at the conditions that are set up in both ahead of World War I, ahead of World War II, ahead of the Cold War, and then compares them to conditions today. And in particular, he's talking about gross domestic product, GDP numbers versus military spending. And it's really, really good. It actually is. It's a good analysis as to where we might be and what we might be looking at in terms of the coming conflict. And I'm going to say it, the coming conflict with Taiwan and China, and setting up the historical factors for what's going on. And then finally, two other little things that I pulled out, which I think I stuck in there. The Daily Wire apparently picked up on a poll that close to 25% of Democrat voters actually believe that men can get pregnant. I don't know where they get these idiots. I really don't. But apparently it was an online survey conducted by the WPA Intelligence from August 22nd to 25th, found that 22% of Democrats agreed with the statement, some men can get pregnant. And the percentage, this is what's worse, is that when the percentage rose, when they eliminated the men out of that, where it was only including women, the percentage actually rose from 22% to a whopping 36% of white, college-educated female Democrats. Now think about that. 36% of white, college-educated female Democrats believed in the statement, some men can get pregnant. I have no idea what these people are teaching in these colleges, but yeah, that's ridiculous. It is biologically impossible, I'm sorry, for a man to get pregnant, period. There's just no way, no how. And the last article that I have kind of tossed in there, which actually I kind of support this as well, is that apparently the Texas GOP, and this is in the Epic Times, but the Texas GOP actually supports a state electoral college in the age of polarization. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, living in a state like I do in Washington, the entire state is run by the cities of Seattle, Tacoma, and Olympia. Those are our major cities with a little bit of stuff in Spokane, which is our eastern city. But apparently the Texas GOP supports a state electoral college. We don't have it here in Washington. We don't have an electoral college. And actually, I think that would kind of even things out a little bit and maybe change some of the political setup within the states in particular for that. Okay, so that's what I have for you this evening. I hope you enjoyed the program. Again, I thank the Outlaw Dogs for doing her remote reporting and being able to bring us those experiences. And of course, as always, I appreciate all my Whiskey Warrior P1s and anyone who actually sits and watches the program. Thank you very much. If this is your first time here, please do me a favor. Go to my Rumble channel, sign up, and subscribe. Once again, I am sitting at 246 right now of subscriptions. I would love to reach 300, and that's my next goal. And maybe I'll put something together if I hit 300, maybe at some special party. Also coming up this weekend is the anniversary of September 11th, the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil. And also, I think in terms of sheer numbers, might even be the worst terrorist attack in the world. But I will have something for that on Saturday. And the other thing is, I'll probably have some other stuff as well too. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week. For those of you who are Catriots, we'll see you tomorrow on the Marquet Show. Otherwise, we will see you next time on the Whiskey Musings broadcast, Saturday night, starting 1 hour later, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you next time on the Whiskey Musings broadcast. Good night, everybody.